Hi, I'm Jim Ziegler, and this is the Dawg Pound. Oh, apologize to the audience. The times got all messed up on social media. Some people read it was 7 p.m., 3 p.m., but we are live right now, 2 p.m. Eastern time, with some of the brightest, most brilliant people, the rowdy Alpha Dog Posse, starting with the Empress of Executive Management.
Yes, a rowdy Empress of Executive Management.
Rowdy Empress of Executive Management. One of the most brilliant personalities in the car business, Miss Jennifer Briggs.
Hey. Super excited. I'm glad that we're not, in England right now, although it's pretty dreary Michigan weather here today. So.
I'm fine with us being in England. You guys can rewatch us at whatever time you want. So.
Oh, well, yeah, it's amazing. Meta messes up the times. I think I've got it figured out for next week. Okay. And the resident Curmudgeon, the king of reinsurance himself, Max Zanan, the dental king. Hi, big guy.
Dental king.
That's right, Jim. Listen, I missed the last show, the reunion show.
Slacker.
Because I was flying to a dental conference.
Because he was scared. That's what happened.
How did that go?
I'm glad you said the facts straight, and our audience knows what a delusion EVs are.
We are not talking about EVs today, guys. We promise that's not what we're doing.
And the queen of BDC, one of the alternate most prodigious people in the car business, Miss Bobbie Herron.
There's interesting reference points going on today. It's nice to see everyone.
Queen of BDC. Did you ever call Ryan?
I did call Ryan. We talked, and you and I need to follow up on that, actually.
Very good.
Funny that you asked that. I would tell everybody something real quick, and I'll keep it short. I focus a lot on BDC when we talk, and I'm brought in a lot for BDC conversations, but I run an operations management company. So CRM, technology, and training are a thing that I do, and buy sells. And so it was an interesting conversation with Ryan because he was like, oh, I didn't know all that. I'm like, that's cool.
Yes.
Don't worry.
You're
like,
talking
I'm a secret weapon, guys.
One of my best clients, Ryan Navarre.
Great guy. Great guy.
Great guy. And the Duchess of Productivity.
Our girl.
From Horn Automotive Group, April Simmons. Hi, kid.
Hey. I was going to say good morning, but we're officially now in the afternoon here in Arizona time. So happy to be here. And what a great topic. I'm going to start today by just saying nothing else matters in 2024 if you have not learned how to block and tackle. So block and tackle is going to be what it's going to be about. And I'm sure we'll get into it.
How to sell cars in 2024. I'm going to preface that most of the salespeople and many of the managers were not in the business before COVID.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even if they were, I think that some of the circumstantial success has made a lot of folks soft.
Circumstantial success.
Yeah, they weren't responsible for that, but they feel like
you're talking about the chip shortage. You're talking about the inventory shortage. You're talking about COVID coming back. You dumbasses forgot how to sell cars.
I mean, I feel like there's a small percentage of folks who always keep their eyes on the prize, no matter what's going on. They're management driven and not market driven. But there are a lot of people who did get into the business. But I just mean the ones who have been in for a long time are also kind of like newbies because of that 3-year period we just went through. Mm-hmm. Kind of, what do you call it, Bobbie? Object permanent
placement.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me ask you something. How much has technology changed the game?
Properly configured technology?
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, because just technology is not a game changer if it's not.
That's a Bobbie question too. Bobbie,
yeah,
how has technology changed the game?
So, I mean, it's changed everything. But like Jennifer said, and like April always says, when you put a piece of technology into your dealership, if you don't have the right people, process, and placement for it, it doesn't function the way that it's supposed to. And so a lot of the technology that we have now, we had prior to COVID. We were using it differently. And now there's some confusion on how to hybrid and blend those two things, and some confusion on process internally, which is how products are actually effective. So the technology has changed in light of things that are new, or new AI tools that have come out, or enhanced abilities, but a lot of the tech is the same. I like to go outside of automotive for my tech, but I'm not going to spill those secrets.
And then April question. April, how standardized is the process in the Horn Automotive Group?
It's quite standardized, but I will tell you that the last 2 months, I have been doing a full reset. And I think that that's the first thing that everyone needs to recognize. We can either, as executive people, get mad at our teams for not following the process, or we can just take a backseat and say, let's just treat everyone as if they know nothing, which is the way I'm going about it. I'm treating every single person, top to bottom, right to left, as if we've never had a conversation about process ever, and starting from the ground up. Because even the people that know better, they forgot, or they're in denial. I kind of championed all of my stores. If you haven't read Who Moved My Cheese, it's one of the easiest, quickest little books to read. But I also think that if you're not mentally ready to pivot, then you're your own worst enemy right now. So you have to change your mind first. And then we're back at it. Block and tackle is all about process. It's about following the process. It's about accountability to the process. And that's really got to be
Okay, slow down, everybody. Slow down.
Yeah, good topic today, Jim.
Okay, the topic starts out. When I first got in the business 49 years ago, meet and greet the customer, establish a relationship, select a vehicle, present the vehicle, demonstrate the vehicle, write up, negotiate the deal from the desk, TO to finance with a quality turnover, deliver the car the way the factory wants the car delivered, and follow up. That was the process. How many people agree with that, or any part of that? Max, you disappeared. Okay, there he is.
I'm back.
Max is crazy when he's in Spain.
Right.
That is the process.
What?
I said that is the process with a few changes. It's the way we deliver the message.
Right. So listen, I think, we got to be fair, right? And most dealers were in business before COVID. So we can't say that most dealers forgot how it works, right?
No, not dealers. I'm talking about the managers, the frontline people.
Right. But the ownership remembers, right? And it all trickles down, right? So yes, maybe there are dealers out there that became dealers in early 2020 or late 2019. So for those guys, this
Very
is like
few,
lights.
very few.
That wasn't
like
passive aggressive at all.
Right. This is like lights out, But majority of car dealers were car dealers before COVID. And they do remember the problem most likely was that during COVID, they kind of were in a position to dismiss everything they knew, right? Because if you had the car, you were golden, right? So now it's all about internal discipline and bringing everybody back to reality. The good news is that a lot of people will lack that discipline and they will not be able to go back to reality. So I'm not an expert, but I anticipate a lot of car dealerships going on the market, and the buy-sell environment is going to be bananas in the next, I would say, 12 to 24 months. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a huge difference between now and before COVID. And that difference is the floor plan expense.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge one.
Okay. In 2019, you were making money, right, from floor plan credits.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, your floor plan is about 10% APR, right? You are now, meaning the dealer, you are now the subprime customer.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to go back to the non-existent front-end profits of 2019, and you're going to add extraordinary floor plan expense, you will be out of business unless you know F&I, parts, and service.
And I mean, to that point though, and I know today we're really talking about processes with salespeople and managers, but to Max's point on floor plan, like, it used to be my goal as a used car director to never let anything age over 45 days. So I never paid one dime in floor plan interest. So managing that term.
Jennifer, you just brought something up. Wait, Jennifer. 45 days. I've got dealers that are keeping EVs on the lot for 120 days.
We made it 11 minutes, guys. 11 minutes before EV became a topic.
Well, and it's not just
but
going to
Jim,
be EV.
120 days is a young unit for an EV.
It definitely is. And again, I think that, you know, especially, and I have seen a lot where even the used EVs are stacking up. I was looking at some stores in the mountain region yesterday, and there's like 44 used EVs in inventory, but not.
I like how you mentioned the mountain region.
The mountain region. I don't want to get too specific, but in one of those areas.
Well, no, we're not forbidden to talk about EVs. EVs is
I know. I'm kidding.
Right.
No, we're going to talk about EVs. We are going to.
We don't want to go off the rail, off the primary focus.
Yeah.
But I do
the
think
primary focus right now is the process.
Is the process.
Getting off primary.
Yeah. But don't.
I want to talk about, first of all, meet and greet the customer.
Yeah.
It happens in the BDC. It happens on text. It happens on the telephone. It happens in email. So the customer meet and greet happens a number of different ways, but it's still
on your website.
Meet and greet the customer, whether they walk on the lot cold or they come in through any other technology.
Absolutely. That's the part where things get lost, though. That's the part where things get lost, is that people have a tendency, and I'm not talking about all dealers. So I know we get some feedback sometimes where people are like, you guys are really harsh on the dealer. We're really harsh on a lot of people, including ourselves. But I want to be clear that where it gets lost is that there seems to be this tendency to separate the two things. We'll just use meet and greet as an example. Okay, this is going to be an example of what I'm saying. Every one of those steps is still valid in all the different forms of communication, but
we just put technology into the formula.
They look different because we tend to treat them different. The customer that comes to your website, before you even engage with them, that's a meet and greet. That's why it's important that your website be set up the appropriate way and that your processes in your CRM and in your store are granular to the steps the customer has taken. If you have a product installed that tells you all the steps the customer did before, and you're not using that information in both your meet and greet and your conversation, your personalization and communication, you're screwing up. And your competitor is going to take one competitor to scoop on in. And it's fast.
So to share a little data on that, was talking with one of the partners in our industry that provides additional data for the traffic. So your lead comes in, it's telling you how many pages they saw on your website, how many times they've been there in the last 30 days, what cars, so on and so forth. And less than 20% of the dealers are actually opening the link to see that detail. That detail can help you to move that customer down funnel. That's what I think of when we used to do, you know, the trade appraisal. We would meet them on the lot. We'd be looking for bumper stickers.
Jennifer, it's the path of least resistance. Who needs to open this email?
Well, not always, though. Let me tell you what, because I go into stores and I handle CRM transfers. I handle what we call a CRM refresh and a cleanse. One of the most popular things that I provide, which is why I'm saying I've done this for hundreds of dealers. I can't tell you how many times somebody installed a program, but then didn't activate or give access to the link. And when they didn't teach anybody how to use the link and how to follow it.
Yeah, what's
such a simple thing. So a lot of times it's a lack of knowledge. Yes, sometimes it's a lack of ability or desire to do so, but more often than not, with the way that we've separated things out in our industry and in our dealerships, marketing and sales are not one team moving in one direction. They're two different teams. And so that gets lost in translation. Or the marketing team comes to the sales manager and says, hey, this is the product we're using now. Look how cool this is. Look what we're doing. They chose it based on their skill level and what they knew they needed, but nobody went in and said to the team, here's what you're supposed to do to get it done. And relying on a vendor.
Let's go back to the sales desk a second. Why are we not profitable? Why are we not managing the salespeople? I want to go back to the sale of the automobile.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, I think, we all missed the very, obvious point that the ultimate meet and greet happens on the dealer's website.
Oh,
So
I
if
okay.
your
I said that,
website,
a minute ago.
if your website is a hot mess, right, and you weren't planning to redesign it because you didn't need to do anything the last 3-4 years, right, then this is where you lose the sale.
This is where you lose the
I
opportunity
promise
to create
you
the
will
sale.
never get to the
Get in
point.
here, April.
Okay,
Come
the
on.
problem is I get feisty about this one, and I get
I know,
feisty
that's
on
why I'm
both
like-
sides, and I'm like, and Bobbie's like, April, your face is saying so much. I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a girl who wears my heart on my sleeve. Whatever, you can read my
Let your mouth come open.
Okay, couple things that I have to say. First of all, one of the things I say all the time is either you don't know or you don't care, right?
Right.
And it is my job to make sure that you know. But I will say that the dealers, not all, but me, myself, and I in our stores, yes, I do train, and we train a lot.
Yeah.
But there is still a plethora of people who don't care enough to open the link. So they
Right.
do know. They
You're
do
right.
know.
100%.
But they say, hey, you know what? I don't want to take the extra effort. I don't want to do the extra amount of work. I don't want to actually do the next steps of the sale, which are sell yourself and sell the dealership. And if they chose to open that link and actually read and get some information to help them, they could actually have a real conversation with a customer, even if it is only an email. But instead, we say, oh, well, I didn't even get a phone number, so I'll just send them a template and they can have a nice day.
Right.
And we are failing. We are doing an epic failure if we don't recognize that the steps of the sale are still the same. We just are starting them in a different place, and that we can do this. And I've been saying this for years and years and years. In fact, when I first went into internet, people were like, what's your secret sauce? I said, I don't have secret sauce. I took the established steps that have been there since the beginning of time, and I applied them to the internet. That's it. That's all that I did. That's the only difference that I made. But to y'all's point about the website, you all know how I feel about that. Yes, that is your meet and greet. But there's not really a place on your website to answer the sell yourself, sell your dealership. So those are the things where you should be doing social media and you should be doing YouTube. But the organic stuff in that space is organic. It's not about selling a car. It's about showing why somebody should want to buy from you, the dealership, and then more specifically, you, Bobbie Herron, and Jennifer Briggs. It has to get down to that level. And so you want to talk why we're losing profit? I'll tell you why we're losing profit, because we're skipping steps, Jim. We're skipping steps. And that is why we are absolutely losing profit. When you go back, day one, when I learned the steps, I was told, April, if you spend 90% of your time in the first 3 steps, you will make more money and sell more cars. And now those 3 steps are the steps we're skipping.
Managers aren't managing the sales force.
Yeah, it's a failure on the management team.
Well, were they trained to do so?
Don't forget one important aspect here, though, too, is that like all the things we're talking about, how you meet people, how you greet people, all those things have value. But let's not forget that the way that we sell is based on relationship, whether that's short term or long term. And so it used to be when we trained, and I'll challenge anybody, I bet you money, when we used to train, we used to teach why we did something. Why do you slide the paper across the table during the close and shut your mouth? You know what? Back in the day, I could ask anybody that and they would say, because the first person who talks loses control and creates objections that may not be valid that you've created for them. Now I ask teams, why do we do that? And they go, because the manager said so. And so sometimes it's also that manager doesn't know that what's been taught. But here's the big deal is that people have learned to interpret communication differently in the last 3 years. And somewhere we didn't check that. I teach communication, and this is a big part of the problem. We absorb things through shorter times, through video, not a walk around video, through fun, silly shit. Should you be doing social media? Yes. Should you have a TikTok channel when you have a Honda store? Absolutely. But if you don't have that audience-based communication, they're not going to read it. And I'm going to throw one more thing in, and then I'm going to be quiet for a second because my mouth hurts.
No.
I have to have a root canal. I'm in serious pain.
Did the Duracell battery run out? Come on.
Oh, no, definitely. Especially not on this topic. I'm in a lot of pain. But somewhere in doing this, we're now doing things that are even worse. Like, for example, and we won't go on a tangent on this, but there's DMARC regulations for email right now that started effective on February 1st. That if you're sending out templated email right now, I want you to just look up DMARC guidelines. 0.03 is the spam rate that can make you obsolete. That's 3 in 1,000. Yeah, that's the number. So sending out a template right now is even more dangerous because you're sending out garbage, and if you're going to end up getting blocked by Gmail and Yahoo, they have guidelines.
Spam listed.
So I'm just going to throw that out there and say to you, it has never been more important, not just for your engagement, but for that reason.
I have a question, Bobbie.
Yeah.
Who controls the domain of which those templates are actually sent from? Is that the CRM or the dealer?
Well, that depends on what CRM you have,
Yeah,
what CMS you have, and what website you have that's doing it. But I'll tell you, if let's say, for example, you're a group and you use
Jason, jump in.
all your mail and you have 5,000 things going out. Now, guess what? Now, when Jim and I are actually working a car deal and I'm sending him information that he requested, it's not going to go through to him. And these penalties have already begun. This is just basic Google it. So as we're talking about how to sell cars in 2024, we also need to recognize that there is technology in the way and there's a reason for that. So let's not forget that as well. Yeah.
Now we look, in our industry, we burn through domains on a pretty regular basis. If you're a dealer and you're watching and listening to this right now, and you are talking to a marketing company or a CRM that wants to use your domain to send out marketing materials, stop right now. Run for the hills. Do not allow that to happen.
Actually, no, you'll lose it.
You will destroy your DM. You will destroy your domain. I've seen it happen many times. I've actually had friends of mine have actually owned dealerships to actually have to change the name of their dealership and the domain because some marketing agency came in, all right, tapped into their DNS, all right, and was using their servers, their A record servers to actually send out emails, and that immediately got flagged and dominated. Hey guys, I'm so sorry that I'm running late. I'm in the middle of a tornado warning and power went out. But
that's commitment right there, people. That's the commitment right there.
Yeah, so there's a tornado outside right now. But my spider senses went off when I heard the word EV. So I was like, oh my gosh, they're talking about me and I'm not there. I better be jumping on. So hey guys.
Okay, so anyway, let's talk about why dealerships are not profitable. I want to get back on the walk-in customer. Okay, let's forget about, we have a number of customers still walking in the dealership. They've done their research online, but they haven't contacted the BDC. They walk on the lot, and we're starting to negotiate the deal. Have we lost the art of negotiation? Have people forgotten?
Yeah.
April jumping, you're shaking your head.
No, 100% they forgot. I mean, it's so bad. It's like our newest closing line is take it or leave it, right? Like what kind of closing line is that? But that's kind of what we've done the last couple of years, right? So yeah, absolutely. Everybody's forgot how to negotiate. Even the ones that know how to have forgotten, and that is the number one thing that we have to get back to is blocking and tackling. I said it at the top of the show. Blocking and tackling is a real thing. It is 100%. Bobbie, you brought up one of the psychology things. Everything we do in the car business is math and psychology. That's it. Like that's what it is.
But the salesperson walks out on the lot. The salesperson walks out on the lot and says, "Hi, welcome to the dealership. Are you here for the big sale?" Some great Cardone stuff. "Are you here for the big sale? Oh, what's your budget? What's your budget?"
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think
this question, what's your budget?
Jim, they're not trained that way. A current stat, actually, I was just talking to a very, large automotive hiring and placement company. All right. And the survey they just recently did showed that almost 80% of the sales team on the sales floor has been in the automotive industry for less than 2 years. Now, let me repeat that. Not in a dealership, in the automotive industry for less than 2 years. If you just simply think about what has happened in the last 2 years, and if it is true, and 80% of the since COVID. So we literally have 80% of our sales team out there that only knows how to take orders and not.
They're not selling the car; they're selling the deal. How much?
You're not selling
how much do
anything.
you want to pay?
That's where we have a profit problem.
They're
So I'm
selling
gonna-
the deal. They're not selling the car. They're not selling the dealership. They're not selling themselves. They're selling the deal.
Yeah, they're not actually selling anything. And I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say that the reason we're seeing issues and a reduced profitability, you cannot have a successful negotiation if you have not done a successful CNA. If you have not done a successful in those beginning 3 steps, like April was saying, you have nothing to know how to do the volley and where to win. And most of our people don't even know how to sell the car you want to sell, right? So if I'm going to do the CNA and I'm going to touch the desk, or am I just going to follow the customer and let them be in control? We have to sell what we need to sell. Right? Not being too pushy, but if you don't do a CNA, you have no shot in the dark to put together the most profitable option for the dealership.
Yeah. So I'm going to give just some easy advice that every dealer that's like, I don't know what these people are talking about and where do I start and how do I start making money?
Our phone numbers are on the screen.
Okay. Every single time you're going to transition between your shifts, if you're not doing a lot walk with your entire team, if you're not doing a walk around and talking about how your product compares to your competition, and if you're not doing some sort of process and psychology training, every shift change, every single day, then you are not equipped to make it through 2024.
Yeah, you're not managing your team.
I really like that. In fact, actually, I think this would be cool if we actually went around together, because I think we all are come from kind of different directions and different paths and different, different experience in our industry. So I appreciate what you just said there. And I think, it's funny, if you ask all 6 of us, I think we'll all come up with 6 very different answers, and they're all probably right. So if you wouldn't mind, let's actually do that. Let's go around, and Jim, I'm sure I'm taking over the point of host, and I'm now sending it back over to you. What is that one thing that dealerships need to be focusing on right now to be profitable and increase?
Well, the biggest thing is down payment. Believe it or not, customers don't buy the price. They don't buy the trade. I mean, this is where customers are payment buyers. That's the customer's advantage.
True.
Our advantage is the down payment that gets the deal past the lender, gets a better term for the customer, gets a better callback. We have forgotten how to work down payment. Average middle line dealership in the country, like Toyota, Nissan, Chevrolet, Ford, the middle lines, the average down payment is about $250. Real cash, not trade allowance, not rebate, real cash from the customer, $250. They don't know how to get down payments.
Why would you ever pencil that way?
Right.
Okay, but I want to throw on a stat real quick that I just want everybody, when we talk about affordability, we've been talking about that and that was going to be a big thing. I have a service stat that I can share that shows that 49% of Americans can't afford a $400 repair. So when we talk about what the average down payment is, I also have to challenge, do people actually have the money?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Well, I think the main question here is not do they have it or they don't. It's, are you presenting it in a way where you're actually asking for it?
There we go. I think that's 100%
Right.
the case.
And showing the value behind it.
And look, I think that's, that is one tactic I do not see that's consistently happening out there. Jennifer, for yourself, what would you say would be the one thing that dealers need to be doing to effectively change profitability and units sold?
Touching every opportunity every day. The management team is not on top of it. They're leaving it up to salespeople who have not been trained. And I'm sorry, if your salespeople suck, that means your managers suck. And you got to start over there first.
Well,
it starts at the top, right?
Yeah.
I'm with
And
you.
I put a 24-hour touch, a manager touch on every opportunity that comes into the CRMs for the stores I work with, because who is going to be better to help maintain profitability and know if our team followed the process and we're inspecting it. And I don't.
Jennifer, let's go back to April
build it into
a
the
second.
process.
Let's go back to April 1 second. April just said that they can't afford $400. I disagree with that because I've got deals all over the company.
I will tell you, it's a stat that I have, and I'll share it with you all because it was given to me. It's got the source right in it. So, you know, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but what I will say is that if somebody can't afford that, I get nervous about, okay, what is the percentage of people that can
I don't want our
Well,
salespeople
there's
and
an
managers
unexpected expense. I think
I
the reason
I don't want to believe that, April. I don't want to believe that because I talk to dealers all the time that are averaging $1,700, $1,800, $2,000 real down payment from the customers in cash.
Well, I think they're two different transactions.
Yeah,
When
Jennifer's
we're talking
right.
about the service bill, it's unexpected. So I haven't had the time to plan. But for most people who are shopping for a car, this is not an impulse purchase within a week. They're planning, they're tucking some money aside so that they can. Or if we're talking to them about how to get the best payment from the very beginning when that first lead came in, right? Down payment is so very important to that.
Well, and I also think the time of the year, right? Like, look, guys, we know tax return season's coming up right now, so you know that's probably going to fundamentally change. You know, I don't believe that the stat of 400 is actually not. That's probably true. There's definitely some reality to that, but I think it's probably there's some seasonalities to it. Max, I know you're busting at the seam. Look, this is the first time I've actually poked everybody. This is awesome.
I like that.
I need to poke everyone more often. Max, you know, profitability. What do dealers need to do right now?
I mean, listen, you just got to go back to what they did in 2019, 18, 17. And I'll tell you this, guys, you know, when you are in car business, you are constantly being brainwashed that, you know, dealers are in the Stone Age and dealers are this and dealers are that. And I'll tell you something, you know, now that I am in automotive and in dental, right? And you can take this to the bank. Dental is in Stone Age or the age before Stone Age.
So they're like dealers.
And dealers are the ultimate entrepreneurs, right? And dealers survived the financial crisis of 2008, you know, financial crisis of 2000, and everything in between, right? So they will always find a way. Hopefully, there'll just be less of them because some of them need to go, right? And it will only make it better for the ones that remain in business, right? And the ones that will remain in business, like Jennifer said, they will focus on the management team training, not on the salespeople training, right? Because it has to trickle down. And where the owner is actively involved with the senior management team, things happen. Where there is an absentee owner or a delusional owner who thinks that if you train salespeople every Saturday morning, boom, you know, we're just going to sell 300 cars, right? It just doesn't work like that.
Can I add something real quick? Realistically, payment and down payment's all that matters. And there's one thing I want to caution about the technology that I've been concerned about over the last few years when we talk about payment and down payment is that we now showcase that on our websites. But if you're not figuring out a way to real time communicate with your customer, you may be telling your customer to now not buy from you or not buy that car because they now think that they can't afford it. When in all reality, what dealers do best is block and tackle. And that's about being creative. It's about saying, hey, wait a minute, do you have a trade? Or like Jim said, how can we really talk about the down payment and work something out with that? But all customers are buying for the most part, payment and down payment, and that's all that really matters. So you have to be real careful about what you're putting out there and then how you're talking to your customer that might be seeing numbers that aren't real.
I'm glad you said communication.
Yeah.
The one time I'll throw something in is, you know, I think, you know, look, I agree actually with all of you guys. I literally think that there's, you know, I posted recently this thing about like what the number one rule in the automotive industry is. And I think we have like 6 number one rules in the automotive industry. But anyways, but you know, to April, to what I was saying about conversation is I think dealers need to be looking at fundamentally need to stop looking at leads right? I think look, for the last decade or almost 2 decades.
Well, we need to stop calling them that, and that'd be a big difference between people and opportunity.
You're so right, Bobbie. Right, you're 100% right. Like, I mean, we got to stop calling them leads. Like, here's the one thing. Maybe this is the OG car salesman coming out at me, but I've never sold a car to a first name, last name, and email address. All right, but I have sold a car in a conversation. So I think as an industry, we have to stop counting the amount of leads that we have and start counting the actual amount of conversations that our dealership is in. Because like I said, maybe it's the old sales guy in me, but I can sell a car when I'm in conversation with someone, but I sure in the hell can't sell a car to a first name, last name, and a phone number.
So I'm glad you said that. I want to throw something.
That's so millennial. This is.
I knew
no, he's not wrong.
Guys, in order for you to get conversations, you need to get leads. It's the numbers game.
Yes. It's just don't call it that is the difference, because that creates a mindset that it's different than a customer. But what Jason is saying, and I will give you this as a pro tip that I have said 100 times on this show and that I teach on. I absolutely hate it when people call me and go, Bobbie, what should the closing ratio be based off leads? GM said it's going to be 18%. Bullshit. First of all, the customer that engages with you is not the same customer that lives in the bucket of people who didn't talk to you. These are two sets of opportunities that are different. I have 5,000 leads in the system from this month, leads in the system. 2,500 didn't talk to me. 2,500 talked to me and either didn't set an appointment, or bought a car. Two different sets of opportunities and two different KPIs.
Very different.
Real easy if things are set up right. And I just want to throw one other thing in real quick before we get too far segued, because we were talking about down payment.
We're getting real sideways right now. I want to go back to customers in the showroom.
Well, okay, but this is important. So let me just throw this one thing out here.
Okay, that's not important.
What's different in 2024, and I said it's different in the way that people communicate. I want you to remember that over the last 3 years, globally, according to Juniper Research or anything that you want to look up, buy here, pay here loans have changed the way that down payments are calculated. By 2027, we have over 900 million people. It's 360 million right now that engage at least one time in a year in an Affirm loan, in a Casper loan, in a down payment loan that says you can have your product right now and you can make payments for the next 6 weeks. We are selling to an isolated group of people that have changed, who also have come to shorter, smaller down payments that are done that way. These are things that have to be thought of when you're thinking about how you communicate with a team and with a customer for training. And whether you meet them on the lot or not, that same person probably has an Affirm loan out there somewhere. And before anybody says, well, these are lower income people, bullshit, because that's not what the stats say. They're higher income people who are living outside of their budget and have been because of a loss of income for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but Bobbie, you're talking about buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Right.
And these companies
It's not America, Max.
to go bankrupt. They're going
bankrupt
because buy now and pay later, especially when it comes to Christmas shopping, Thanksgiving shopping, it's buy now, pay never.
Except you're going to love this. You're going to love this, Max. You're going to love this part. Do you actually know that with Affirm's not the one on the hook for the loan? Works the same way the old service loans did for service contracts with the 0%. If I buy something from Kohl's and I put it on my Affirm loan, Kohl's has an agreement with Affirm at that 0% that they're responsible for it. So Affirm's not going out of business.
We are way off subject.
That's important.
Well, I was going to take it back to presenting weekly payments in the showroom, Jim.
That's where I'm going. Where I'm going is when you're negotiating a deal, should you be negotiating it on a monthly payment, or should you be really selling the bi-weekly payment product and selling it that way when people are
No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
I think you should give the option.
Explain, Jim, explain. I want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Bi-weekly payment, quit it. That you damn Canadians, get out of here.
I should be in Canada. I'm super nice and so.
Bi-weekly payment, that is fraudulent. That is a misconception. No. Bi-weekly payment is totally fraudulent.
I'm not talking about selling it as that's the contract. That's not what I'm
with
saying.
you, Jim. I am with you.
I love you.
They bring zero value and they will never win in court.
No, now we're using trickery.
No,
we're using
that's not my suggestion.
Bi-weekly payment. Bi-weekly, quit it.
My suggestion is that you consider the fact
never
that it is the choice of a consumer and that they are being told everything else.
Present an honest figure. A monthly payment is what they're going to end up doing. No, bi-weekly is just to trick them into thinking that no.
You're thinking of the old school bi-weekly. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I love you, so I'm going to say this out loud. You're thinking of the old school biweekly payment where they got paid $150. They lied to the customer. They still had to make the payment monthly, and it was some make an extra thing bullshit. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not the tech right now. This is why we all talk.
Yes.
Because I'm not talking about the old school process of selling it in the showroom in a shady way.
Now, if you're quoting a bi-weekly payment, no.
It's like, no, I can only think of it this old way. I know it's like green Sharpie, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I love
and that's what I'm suggesting for asking for
it is deceptive. It is dishonest. I'm never going to quote a bi-weekly payment. There's 12 months in a year, January through December. That's what I'm going to talk about.
But Jim, I get paid bi-weekly.
Right? Yeah, again, it's not the old school.
I budget bi-weekly now.
No.
My actual card payment through MSU Credit Union is a bi-weekly payment through the credit union. It's not just pay an extra one. That's actually when it's due.
Yep.
And my suggestion for down payments when I'm talking about these buy now, pay later places is if you are a dealership who can't get $4,000 down from your customer, why aren't you offering an option for a 0% payment plan that, by the way, will work with dealers? It's a real thing right now. So I don't know if you guys are listening and you're doing it, raise your hand. And if not, there's my pro tip for you.
So Bobbie, is what you're saying, if they're too weak to actually train their salespeople to properly negotiate the deal and the desk managers, they should research those programs?
I'm saying that you should research those programs anyways. I'm saying why wouldn't you already?
I'm saying you should never, ever look at those stupid ass programs.
They're 0%. What do you mean? It's a layaway program for down payment.
Do not be quoting bi-weekly payments. Quit it.
Okay.
Because you don't
April's putting her hand up.
April, do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes. So first of all, I'm going to agree with you both, and then I'm going to talk about why I agree with you both real quick. So
why would you agree with us
history
both?
repeats
I'm right, she's wrong. Okay. Come on.
History repeats itself, Jim. And when I go back and I look at what we did in 2006, 2007, and then 2008 happened. And in 2008, car dealers had to get really creative about making deals. Why? Because in 2006 and 7, people took out home equity loans for down payments, and now they were buried, and now they're trying to trade in a SUV that, the gas mileage was so low, dealers weren't even taking them in. And so we had to get creative. So when we talk about down payment, there's two types of down payment. There's down payment to be profitable, and then there's down payment just to make the deal. And when we consider how many people have negative equity right now, there's a lot of people that will need a substantial larger down payment than just enough to make profit. And in those cases, solutions like what Bobbie's talking about could really be the key in a creative way to now get deals just done versus kicking them out the door because you can't get your loan to value in whack. So I do think 0% on a side loan is much better than 22% on a credit card that we're going to do and send the customer out. So I'm going to agree with you both. I don't think you should necessarily advertise biweekly payments, but I do think that there is an opportunity in some of these options to help get creative to put car deals together. Okay, off my soapbox. Proceed.
Okay.
Proceed.
A biweekly payment turns out to be a monthly payment, however you slice it. Max?
You're talking about the car loan. We're talking about the down payment. I'm not talking about the car loan. I'm talking about the down payment.
So Bobbie,
Jenna Smith just put a comment down there. Can you throw that up there real quick, Jim? Because
it says it's spicy.
So Bobbie, I just did a quick Google search, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're talking about is going to be, it's a nightmare in the making, right? And I'll tell you why. So the buy now, pay later financing, and this is coming from CFPB.
Yeah.
So CFPB, which is not the biggest car dealership fan, right? They found that Black, Hispanic, and female consumers were more likely than average to use it, as were consumers with household incomes between $20,000 and $50,000. So you're looking in the very near future into a huge class action lawsuit that's going to say that this is another way of discriminating, and this is what's going to
Of
push
course
the
it is.
If you
over
offer
the
a
edge.
product, if you offer a product to
It is
100%
aimed
of the people, 100%
at Black,
of the time,
Hispanic, low income,
that's not how it works.
uneducated customers. Come on. I mean, it's aimed at all the classes that class action suits are born with.
Right.
It's
Thank you,
not.
Jim.
But we
So,
offer it in
it's actually
service.
not.
We
So,
all offer it in service.
Bi-weekly
What's the
payments, let's
difference?
discriminate against the low income people.
No.
The uneducated.
You guys
people.
sometimes get stuck in words. And this is the problem with training too. I love it. We're stuck in words. I know when you say
No, we're not.
old school biweekly payment, what you think I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. A firm, for example, no minimum credit score, no minimum income. The liability is not on the dealer. Hold on, let's go to finance for a minute. If you present a product 100% of the time to 100% of the people using a menu 100% of the time, you're in compliance. You get a sign off. This is how this works. And I know that you know that, Max, because
I'm not interested in being compliant. I'm interested in being moral and ethical.
It's moral and ethical, 0%.
Well, I think it's unethical.
If you're unethical 100% of the time, okay, you're compliant, but you're still unethical.
It's not unethical to offer it out.
Probably illegal.
That would be like saying, hold on. So let me clarify this because now I'm curious.
I'm into being moral and ethical.
Is anybody on this panel that disagrees with the option of offering this? Does anybody have a problem taking a credit card for the down payment?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't see
You
how
got
it's
no
any
problem
different
with somebody
than
paying 30% over the next 7 months to take a $2,500 down payment, but offering somebody
We're car
0% for 8
dealers.
weeks is unethical? No, it's not.
We're car
Bobbie,
dealers.
there's a really simple
I've done weird deals in that.
You know, a credit card is given to you based on your credit and based on your ability to repay. You just said it yourself that these buy now, pay later loans are not based on credit.
I said affirm as an example. And secondary to that, I'm having a real hard time believing that everybody here is like, you know what, I wouldn't take that 10 grand because it's not up to me. It's not on the dealer. You're not hearing me. This is the same as if they handed you a 0% credit card. It's not up to you if they're approved. And if they need $1,500 down that they need to put on layaway for 6 weeks, I would rather they have a 0% opportunity than a 33% one with compounding interest. But maybe that's just my financial aspect of it.
Yeah, but you just said it yourself that they put the merchant on the chargeback program.
If that's the agreement made with the store. There's 70 different companies that do this.
If the customer fails to pay him back, the dealer is on the hook. It's a chargeback, like with zero APR finance.
You don't know that, and neither do I, because neither one of us have applied for it for a dealer.
So
neither one of us.
I do know that we utilize it in service, and we have forever.
Right.
I don't feel like it's unethical.
Yeah, it is a thing. But I should have used a different word because when this is a good aspect for everybody watching for training. When we use certain words, they have power that carries to what we know them to be. So when you're doing training with people or talking, you can't use the words that bring that back up. The program that Jim is talking about is a super shady biweekly program that used to screw all kinds of people. That's not the one I'm talking about. I should have chose my words better.
Okay, yeah, Christopher Campbell in the sidebar says, okay, it's not unethical if you offer it to everyone. So Bobbie's correct according to this person. So you're Christopher Campbell saying, yeah, it's ethical if you offer it to everybody. Okay.
Right. Where's our lawyer? Where's our lawyer?
Yeah, where's
But this is what we're talking about is how is it different in 2024? This might not be a comfortable conversation for everybody. This is how it's different. These are the people that you're selling
these are
to.
the conversations that are going to happen, Bobbie, because to your point, all right, negative equity is only going to get worse.
It's going to be terrible.
We barely even touch the ridge of this volcano. Do you know what I mean? We like that ripple effect.
It's just coming
over the next 5 to 6 years.
Well,
like there's negative equity. Like
negative equity is going to increase because the managers are opening every deal at 84 months.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me
started. That's why negative equity is going to increase.
That is definitely one of the reasons for sure.
Unreasonable terms. That's a major
unreasonable or
that's a major reason.
Yeah.
And the
And
we're
majority of the
rolling,
country
we're
does.
rolling
affordability.
upside down into the next loan.
Perfect.
We're rolling the negative equity into the very next loan.
Guys,
And
voluntary
compounding.
repossessions are going to go through the roof. There'll be a tsunami
I agree.
of voluntary repossessions before there'll be a tsunami of negative equity.
There's
go.
an actual local like voluntary repossession like auction like in my area, and I've been like jumping on. I haven't bought anything yet, but I've just been jumping on, looking at it. Dude,
Can I get that link?
there's some deals. I mean, there's some deals. Actually, Bobbie, I actually thought of you one because I actually did see this. Because I remember a while back you were looking for a van that had handicap like this and stuff like that. There's one that came up, man. It was cheap.
Those things are expensive. That's the industry I'm going into. You know, the other thing I think that we should remember in this, and it's like Jason had asked everybody for this pro tip, and I love the way that this made this conversation go. But if I had to say one pro tip for an entire team, because it's easy to say like somebody isn't training, they're not doing this, and a lot of times that knowledge isn't there. But you need to reset your process and your operations. And I don't just mean in a CRM, whatever. I mean, the same way we do financial planning every year, you need to be sitting down as a leadership team and coming up with what the processes are in, having these conversations with each other so that it can trickle down from the top. Because a GM and a GSM or a GM and a sales manager in an office having a quick 10-minute conversation and getting on the same page is not the same as actually implementing something and holding them accountable. And it's easy for us to say things like, or for me to say communication and psychology and process because that is my focus, and technology and that is my focus. And so coming in and training a team on something that I study all the time and learn and actually use makes sense. But I also don't trust that everybody in every single store understands that this is what's going on. That's not to take away from
Bobbie, that's a microaggression.
No, it's like people says you don't care or you don't know. And yes, there's a huge subset of people who don't care, but there's also a subset of people who don't know.
Well, so
I just wanted to use the word microaggression in this
problem
sentence.
is nobody
it's
knows
the word of the day in his little flip up calendars.
I'm
Right,
texting you
right.
right now. You're in trouble.
The problem is nobody tries to make a profit today. No, I mean we are so interested in people that are buried upside down, negative.
Well, I mean, Jim, but
you got to remember these people were selling cars for 10,000 over sticker a year ago, and now these people are coming back into the market, 10,000 over sticker. They paid $135,000 for a Tesla, and now they can buy a new one, a new Tesla, at the same $85,000.
We help with that loan to value.
Can that be a podcast in
You
itself?
bought those Teslas. You are so far upside down you can't see daylight.
Hey,
Well,
but
but I do want to just say, guys, and I don't disagree with that. And on the aging, we were talking about EVs earlier, but that is still such a small percentage of the
Right.
inventory and registration. Let's not get distracted on that. Let's talk about the basic blocking and tackling. Once upon a time, if a customer walked into my showroom and was $7,000 tipped, I knew 10 cars that I could put them on
Yes.
to cover that. We are not paying attention to the basic steps anymore.
well,
With 8 minutes to go, you're back on track. Thank you.
okay, so not only basic for the basic facts, but also Jim, look,
Jason and Bobbie succeeded in getting us off track.
You know what I mean?
Podcast then. So, but going back to this basics, Jim, like what you were saying, like you said something that we're not focused on selling and profitability. Look, I have many friends that are sitting right now on 200 plus days worth of inventory. We're talking floor plan interest rates that are exceeding or around $500,000 a month. I mean, these dealers are in some serious deep water, and look, we're gonna have a proper reset. There's gonna be, look, you're gonna see a lot of buy sells happen real quick, and it's like when dealers are facing that, but then also facing a sales team that hasn't been in the automotive industry more than a couple of years. Like, guys, this is the perfect shitstorm of stuff going on. All
the more reason to invest in your management
also
team.
that the managers are loading up the used cars to make the new car deals.
You're right, and used car prices are dropping like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at some used EVs right now. Oh man, there's some deals to be had. But like, you're 100% right. So here we are. We're loading up these vehicles. We can't sell them for what they are. Like, guys, there's a perfect storm happening right here, and I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming because right now managers their idea to make a deal is to put too much money in the trade-in. And the trade-in is already upside down. So they're loading up an upside down trade-in and putting it into inventory to make a new car deal.
Not unless you're willing to write it down immediately and get it better into the market. That's bullshit. Oh, sorry. That's not the way. Sorry, I'm super passionate about
microaggression
from being and making it profitable. If you're doing crap like that and you aren't actively acquiring inventory to offset that overloaded underwater inventory, it's fine if you have to do that every once in a while to put a deal together. That's totally fine. But
every once in a while,
unacceptable if you don't have something to balance it.
Not every deal. April knows that's true.
Oh, 100%. But I will tell you that we have checks and balances in our process, which our general managers have to be the last one to sign off on a deal before it gets billed. And they look at it, and managers don't do it very often, because what they will learn real quick is the GM will write that sucker right back down.
Oh, yeah.
And you're taking a bloodbath now on the deal that you made. So in our group, doing that doesn't really benefit you, because it doesn't actually hit the finish line. So you're gonna get chomped on it regardless. We don't allow
If
that.
you want to learn how to make a profit in today's market, what you need to do is call me or Bobbie or Jason or Max.
What am I, chopped liver?
Oh,
I literally teach a class at Northwood on maintaining the profitability of these departments.
oh, excuse me.
You're so sassy today, Max. Is this your fault?
Don't call Jennifer.
I was told
It's the one
She's swearing. She's all in. Like, what is happening right now?
Okay, I forgot. Okay, if you want to learn how to be profitable, call me or Jennifer or Bobbie or Jason or Max. Any one of these people. I mean,
and if you want to have a conversation about it,
except April. April works for a dealership.
Right. Conflict of interest.
I work for a lot of dealerships, so you're correct.
If you
I love this discussion.
If you really need to get your dealership profitable, look at the experts on this broadcast. Call any one of us, me especially.
Yeah.
I'm getting the best text messages from our audience right now that are like, man, we missed your guys' fire. Like, yeah, welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, Max, last 3 minutes, what do we need to talk about?
So listen, to sum this up, if you want to focus on the sales, you got to focus on the ownership, right? And if you want to survive, right, you have to understand that only the paranoid survive, right? So you need to train every single day. But no matter how hard you train, right, at the end of the day, there are certain market conditions, whether it's down payments, interest rates, affordability, and you have to understand that you bought a franchise dealership not for the sake of the new car sales department. You also got with it an F&I department, a parts department, and a service department. And when times are slow and when economy is not as great, people don't buy cars. They go and they service them because they keep them longer. So if you're not going to perfect your walk around, your MPI process and service, if you're not going to perfect your F&I presentation or your participation program, whether it's reinsurance or DOWC, right, you're going to leave a ton of money on the table. You cannot be singularly focused on sales. A car dealership is much more than a sales department.
Yeah, very good.
You're not wrong, Max.
Christopher brought up something on the sidebar, leases, which we didn't even bring into the.
Yeah, I was about to, but you guys were going off
Bobbie
on
was doing bi-weekly payments and some crap like that.
Love leases.
Leases.
Who's Jenna Smith? Because I have a new fan, Jenna Smith.
Jenna is in our tribe, is one of our best friends, and is brilliant in automotive.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jenna.
You know it's real if she took your side.
Right.
April, what closing statements do you want to make in the next 2 minutes?
Just what Chris is saying there is really what everyone is saying. It's about affordability, and we got to get back to being creative and understanding it's all about payment and down payment, and whether that's figuring out how to help customers on a down payment or figuring out how to utilize the lease programs, which I think are going to get better and better and better in the next few months as inventory
lease programs. Absolutely. I'm a big advocate.
Me too.
Yeah. So bottom line, we need to sharpen up all of our skills. And most of that is how to creatively take all the pieces of the car dealer pie and make it into something miraculous.
And no bi-weekly payments. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Okay. Anyway.
I know.
Everybody wave goodbye to the audience. Bobbie, wave goodbye. There you go.